everybody. Welcome to the spot, the Stacked After Hours spot. I am your host, Natalie Cosby, and welcome to the show for Grown Folk Talk. So, tonight we are doing the show. We did the flip a couple weeks ago on what are you attracting, and we're talking to the men tonight. So, y'all get ready, get those cocktails, keep those fingertips loose, because we want to hear your questions and comments on tonight's show. And here at SI, we keep it what, y'all? Lit and enlightening. So let's get into it. Where's my girl Sunshine? There she is.
Hey,
Hey, Sunshine.
how are you doing?
I am good. I am good. I think we're recovering from our live in-person show. How are you feeling from that?
Yes, that was so much fun.
That was
So,
fun. We're going to be doing more of those. That was a little bit of a high. But tonight we are back in the squares and we are talking about what are the brothers attracting, right?
yeah.
And so
So,
as women being on the other side, what are you attracted to, Anthea, now? Versus let's talk
yeah,
about like
I think,
maybe go ahead.
yeah, I think I talked about it before where I say I like confidence
Mm,
and you gotta have something to say. And I always say something to say doesn't necessarily mean in words. Something to say can come in the form of a number of different things, but that confidence is that means a lot to me. And you know, that's pretty. I really just don't want to say that that's all I'm looking for because it has to have a look, it has to have an aesthetic, it has to have a feel, it has to have an energy, and but those two things kind of just pop out to me all the
the
time.
confidence.
And I love to laugh. I do like when somebody have a sense of humor. So those are the things that I like. Am I attracting them? I'm not sure.
What do you said you're not you don't think you're attracting them, but you know what you
Ah,
like.
yes. Yeah. I
Do you see a lot of what you like right now at your age?
yes, I see a lot of what I like, but not in the available men. They're not available, or they're not emotionally available. I would say. Yeah, I mean, you could tell, basically in conversations where people are at, and what their mo is, and how long it takes for the energy to kind of connect and get going. But I guess that's
Mm,
it.
that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I like a good sense of humor and I like men. I mean, the confidence is key, but I think
Yeah.
also just like somebody who's like really interesting, right? Because there are a lot of
Oh,
duds out there. I'm not gonna say there's a lot. Let me not. I digress. It's not a lot of
that's
duds, but I just realized that
being
sometimes
serious.
they're a little
It's,
green or they
I know
haven't
what you
been
mean.
exposed.
Yeah, it falls flat. They're, a dope person that can, just, as I always use the terminology, mind fuck you, make you think, and you're like, oh shit, I never really saw that, terminology from that perspective, or never really heard of that. I want to learn something from my person. I want to be able to, but I don't want him to try to impress me. Am I saying,
Well, I think
I don't,
you know what, it's so funny. I ran into our the relationship coach, the Cheyenne,
Mhm.
on the street this week, and he's like, you know what? I was thinking about it, and I'm not going to quote what he said. This is what I heard verbatim from him. He was just like, I realized, like after 45, women, y'all have experienced a lot of things that we're not necessarily trying to impress you, but we really have to impress you verbally. And I'm like,
but it's more than
I was like,
that.
it's more than that. I was like, it's a little, it's like chivalry, honesty, transparency, along with you got to be
Yeah,
damn interesting. Like we
interest.
at 45. I hope you've lived a little and experienced some shit and have some answers to some unspoken questions you didn't possibly know at 30 something. But I
Yeah.
feel like some dudes are still trapped in their 35 body
Girls,
and they
some
like
dudes are still in
55.
1980 because that's all they talk about. 1985, when I was hot, blah, blah, blah. Like, so this is 2022. What's happening with you now? I don't want to hear about 1995 over and over and over again. 1995 may be interesting, but we're in 2022 now. So let's talk about now. What are you up to now? You
Right.
know, and as you always use the terminology, there's a lot of brothers in arrested development, they're just back there and they don't know how to get out of back there. And that's okay. They're just, not for me.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, it's just not for me.
But not for you. Okay.
No, no, no. And I want to believe that I'm not a complicated person, and I want to believe that I don't ask for much. But
Uh-huh.
maybe I should. Maybe I should ask for more.
I think like the whole thing with men now at our age is like, I need my peace. I'm like,
But you have to be peaceful with yourself to get your peace.
you could do like peace ain't gonna come. I mean, peace. Look, is she
Peace is
to
not going to
me
come.
when I hear I want my peace? I know these Negroes are gonna get in my behind. When I hear my peace, it means like you don't want to be challenged. You just want her to be quiet and sit quietly like a dud. That's
Yeah,
when I hear when I hear the peace. It ain't. It's not that you don't want your peace. It's the more the fact that you like. I need for you to shut up and know your place.
yes. And I'm glad you actually mentioned that because that's a topic that we want to talk about, submission. Because that's a trigger word for a lot of us. And
Or
when we hear that,
cooperation, like we
yes,
children.
and when we hear that sort of stuff, we get triggered and our minds take us to certain places. So, um, but a man wanting his peace, a woman is not going to come into your life and take it away. You got to be at peace with yourself. And if you're
Well, that
attracted,
also, but I right, and I think there are men who like their peace. They like the drama. Like they never go say they don't like the drama, but they like the.
I feel like the men who say they want their peace are attracting the wild ones. That's why they keep having to say that over and over again. Because why you gotta keep saying that? Are
Yeah,
you attracting the crazy ones? And
yeah.
maybe the crazy ones is what you like.
They say crazy sex is good. Maybe that's what it is. It's okay. I'm not judging. I just it's so this whole peace statement that I hear from men at our age
I'm glad you brought that up, and
is
I'm glad we
really
have men on the panel to tell us about that.
right. Because it's just like I want my well, you don't have like okay.
What is that
What does
about?
that mean?
Because
So
a
that means
man can't
right.
come
And
in.
I understand like you want somebody who's compliant or actually who can listen to you and respect you. I think that's what you want. And I think we both want that. Like to listen,
Absolutely. Who wants
respect.
somebody to be arguing all the time?
No,
I
we don't
don't
want to do that either. I mean,
Who
everybody
wants
wants peace.
No. I know, Natalie, for sure. I could be petty, but my petty is just for fun. It's not something meant to hurt anybody, or it's not something that's argumentative or anything like that. I don't like as you know, I don't like arguing. When people start arguing or when it becomes crazy, you know what I do?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I just chill
I
out
look,
inside.
I know, I'm sure them brothers behind in the back are like, what you girls
What?
talking about my piece. Okay, let's introduce tonight's panel. Montaigne,
Hmm.
bring them in. There are the
Hey.
fellas. They shaking their head. Look at her. Rashad, our maestro is back. Rashad Coles. our fitness expert, Mr. Jamie Mouton, and Dr. Reggie Carwell is in. So, gentlemen, and we have somebody new to the show, our relationship coach who
Oh,
loves all things creative and crafty. She went from hairstylist to event planner to therapist. Let's welcome Miss Shante.
how are
Is it
you all
Dr. Shante
doing?
Alexander? Oh,
Masters, not doctor.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Shante
Yeah.
Alexander. So gentlemen, I know that conversation may have been a little triggering. I can see Rashad shaking. Rashad, what was
Everybody's shaking their heads like,
he
mm-mm.
like? And Reggie shaking his head too, and Jamie just got his hand over his mouth. The nonverbal is saying a lot, gentlemen, right now.
Yes, that's loud as ever.
So I'm gonna
Why you
let.
shake,
I'm
why
gonna
you
open
shaking
it
your
up.
head, Rashad? I'm curious.
We don't have enough time. I'm gonna fall back and just play my part and be my
Okay,
own piece right now. I'm just gonna be my piece.
Reggie, you were shaking your head. Reggie, you were shaking your head. What were you thinking?
Oh my God, same old stuff, different day. Just a repetitive story that you hear everywhere. And it's almost like you all just send a manuscript out to each other through the universe, and that's what you all just say all the time. And I can't be lying, I can't make this up because we have two different brothers in here who are just looking at me like, yeah, man, you're right. Because we hear this all the time. I still believe
What
that
do you
women
hear all the time?
still believe that women have these unrealistic expectations of what a relationship is. They still don't understand men for the most part, how we operate. They don't understand our vocabulary. They don't understand our non-verbal way of communicating with each other. And until that happens, you all are still going to be reading from the same manuscript, saying the same stuff all the time. And it's really kind of, you know, we got to be honest. Women are shooting themselves in the foot with this stuff. You got to go to the library and pick up a different book and stop going to the same section all the time
But
Hmm.
because
you're being
men
a
know. I mean, the jury's out. Men know. It's an open
Men
secret. It's not like it's hidden anymore. All men know.
know
So,
what?
No
stop
Know what?
selling
one.
us.
Know what, Reggie?
Stop. Well, the same old what you all are going to say. It's like I knew exactly what you all were going to say. Precursor to us coming on tonight. It was like, okay, here we go again. It's like DMX says, "Here we go again."
but but kind of said nothing. I, I I still don't get it.
Shante, I'm gonna
Say
have you go
again?
ahead. Go,
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
still,
go ahead,
well,
Shante.
I mean, I might not get too much love on this, but I'm not going to completely disagree with what was said just now. I think I kind of knew what was going to be said too. Is what I used to say when I was looking for a relationship. I want a sense of humor. You know, I want swag. I want confidence. Um, and then I realized I had to expand that. I had to expand what that mean. I had to expand and get more specific about what that meant. Um, yeah, so I understand what Dr. Reggie is saying, but I'm also kind of confused in the sense of you're hearing that. What does that mean for you men? Like, how do you, if this is what you're constantly hearing from women, how does that impact the type of woman in that you are looking to attract?
I could jump just get serious for just a second. I think that the conversation, while it's good to have, I think that a lot of it was based on generalization, and it felt to me as if um, there's this mold that you're asking us to fit in, and obviously, like black people in general, we are not a monolith. Men are not a monolith. It just seems like and my job isn't necessarily to come and you know especially in this day and age, is to come and be the peacock, and dance for your attention so much that I have to hit all of these markers in order for you to open your door, oh, yes, you may enter now. No, we don't live in that world anymore. We live in a world where, listen, I can have a conversation with you. You find me interesting, then let's have that conversation. And then let's see if we have anything else we can build on and not get stuck in this thing of, oh, I got to be funny. I got to be 6'2". I got to make this amount of money. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. There's so many requirements. And men, we've known this for decades. Is like, no, we don't. We don't. Like, because there's a lot of women out there who pick gentlemen that aren't necessarily out here just moving with the best of intention. So those guys are obviously dating somebody. I'm not saying dating you ladies because you guys are lit and enlightening. So, but
That was shady.
That was hilarious. Go on, Rick. Go on, Rashad. Throw that shade. Throw that shade.
It wasn't shade. It wasn't shade. It wasn't shade at all. But I mean, my point obviously is that, like Shante said, that there's something broader that has to happen. Then I'm more than just being funny or witty or anything. I'm bigger than all of that. You know, I have a lot of nuance and I have a lot of facets that if someone who is willing to sit there and get to know those things about me, then there's something there to be had.
Right.
I agree.
So can I have a follow? Okay, so I get all of that, but I am clear about, like, so Rashad and Jamie and Reggie, what have you guys been attracting in the last couple of years? Like, what has been drawn to you? Because I think it's also like, what is your energy drawing to you? I'm gonna go with Jamie first.
Since middle school.
What do you mean it's middle school? Wow.
I've always attracted the same type of woman. And my dad used to have fireside chats with his 4 boys that grew up in my house. And he used to say, pick your type. Your type cannot be what your brother's type. Pick out what you like and then always stick with that, because every woman is not going to dig you and you're not going to dig every woman. So I don't really I've never had a problem attracting quality women. Never. So it's an equation for me, a formula for me just to be myself. And if I put myself out there, and whether I'm in a grocery store or whatever, I always seem to attract a certain type of woman. They're all good women. No complaints here. I don't have any complaints.
All right. Well, my question is then, what are you gentlemen looking for?
What's looking for me? You know,
I mean,
Okay.
go ahead. Because the numbers are in your favor. All the men I talk to, they're always saying, "I don't need any help. There's plenty of women out here." It seems like all the numbers.
Yeah, but that's always.
That's what men
Yeah,
have
but
told
that's
me.
always a false number.
What you said? It's a false
But
number. Reggie?
I always go back to what I. Yeah, because in that, let's just say at 20, because it's a nice solid round number. You're going to have a whole lot of stuff in that you got to deal with. You're going to have the baby mama drama stuff. You're going to have strippers. You're going to have the hood rats. You're going to have all of that other stuff. And then once you get down to it, you may have like 3 women, that you can really just kind of say, well, I probably could deal with these, but they're so hard to find because they don't really come out on the market like that. So while you're trying to find your way and sift through all of that, again, these obstacles are in your way. These women that just serve really no purpose.
Are you entertaining those women?
Not at all. Absolutely not. They're actually easy to get out of the way because they kind of give themselves away. They come in with a lot of, expectations, things that they're asking me to do that they can't even do for themselves. So that's always the number one problem. Just sometimes, not most of the time, not all the time, is just they want somebody to complete them. And I've said this before, I can't ask for perfection because I'm not perfect. And I want that reciprocated in the way that another woman feels about herself, is that, you can't be out here looking for someone perfect when you're not perfect yourself.
Okay, I'm
So,
gonna throw this out there
yeah,
again then. What are y'all looking for? I heard a lot just now, but I still didn't hear anyone say this is what I'm looking for and this is what I want.
as
I
a
cannot.
as a
Okay.
51-year-old black man,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so someone who is simple, sincere, courageous, has conviction, um, spiritual, but not religious, and just enjoys life, especially at my age.
Mm-hmm. So, what type of woman do you think what kind of qualities? I'm sorry, what kind of qualities do you have that will attract that type of woman?
I think I check most of the boxes. I'm not, sexy and nobody out anymore. I'm not that in that part of my life where, I'm that fit 25-year-old guy that's, playing ball every day and I'm, running and jumping, but I do get out. I still work out. I'm fit. I go to the doctor. He says everything checks, in the green. I'm healthy. I'm educated. Um, I take care of my son. There's no baby mama drama. I don't even call my son's mother baby mama. It's my son's mother. Her and I have a great relationship. So there are things that are there that, from a baseline perspective, shoot, why not?
Okay. I'm gonna throw this at you because I love the answers you gave me. They were some good answers, but they were still kind of on that surface level.
Throw it surface. So you want
Yeah.
detail?
I want what are them qualities?
Give me an
What would
example.
make you, so for example, you said what you're looking for, the qualities, you gave me qualities for the woman you're interested. You gave me baseline and check marks for you. What are those qualities you have? Are you a person who's patient? Are you a loving person? Are you a kind person? Are you peaceable? We talked
Oh,
about
okay,
men
yeah,
wanting that peace.
absolutely.
What are the qualities that's going to allow
Well,
you
I've worked with children all
to
my
match
life, and
that?
I've worked with children in my life, special education. I work with children all my life,
Mhm.
emotional behavior disorder students, autistic children, learning disabled. I work with adults at the university level, teaching them. So I have a large amount of patience for children, but a small amount for adults. So I think that may be probably one of my Achilles heels at
Okay.
times, is that I expect someone at my age to come to the table, ready. Like, okay, I'm not dealing with 21-year-old issues anymore. Somebody who's very secure in themselves, someone who's very confident in themselves. There's not a lot I should be having to do or to complete in someone who's 51. But I've always said on that show before that in special education, we always talk about the chronological age and the mental age. And sometimes they just don't add up. Someone you may think that's 51 could be operating on a 35-year-old level. Uh, you know, those are the things that I have to think about too. So we, we just got to try to find somebody, or myself, speaking for myself, who's kind of on the same wavelength at this time in their lives.
Mhm. So, what would you say are your strengths then? I'm glad you mentioned one of your areas that may be a development for you, but what is a strength of yours?
I think he went. Maybe
Or
we
I could
can.
throw that out to the rest of it. I don't want this to be like a one-on-one session with Reggie, but what are your core values and what are your qualities and strengths?
See, let me share this with you. See,
Hmm.
let's just talk. Let's not be interviewed. My thing is, I work best with people who are grown and real. And at the end of the day, I feel like, I'll be honest with you, I'm very transparent. I'm a monster in
Hmm.
it's where I'm not safe. You know what
What
I'm
does
saying?
that mean,
That's me.
Jamie?
Yes.
Well, what that means is, what I'm telling you is that what me being 52 and single comes with reasons. There's a reason why I'm single and not married. You know, at the end of the day, what I look for is transparency and realness at this stage in my life. I don't need a questionnaire to fill out. Look, let's meet, let's talk, let's see if we have some things in common. You should have resources at this age. I have resources at this age. Just know I'm not Richie Cunningham. You know what I'm saying? I'm real. And at the end of the day, what makes me a good guy is not acting like Richie Cunningham. What makes me a good guy is being able to control this monster that I am, and respecting you and honoring you and giving you quality time. I say one more thing and I'm gonna shut up.
No, wait. Go ahead. Because that monster thing.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to understand I'm trying.
I'm still stuck on the interviewing, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, and Jamie touched on something really important about it. Black men, we are all monsters. We grew up in a society that made us monsters. I don't care if it's impatient, violent, trauma, suffering from some type of PTSD. Like, we all are monsters, and our inner struggle in every man is to control that Incredible Hulk in us. Like, that goes with every man. That's not something I heard what he said, and I immediately tapped into it, because it's something that as I know myself and other Black men have gone through this churn of just being, and we have a space that we have to be that sometimes, or we had to be that at some point, and now we're getting older, that now we can put those things down, but we are still in transition in those things.
Okay, so you hit a deep point with that. I'm sorry, you hit a
go
deep
ahead.
point with that, and it kind of begs to go back to
Yeah,
the
that's
question
very
that
Rashad.
are you ready for her? If you still have that monster that has not been brought under control, if you still struggling with that PTSD, I think that's the term that you use. How do you know? How are you going to be ready
It's important. It's
for the
important
woman
that
you
you
want?
don't. It's important that we don't confuse PTSD with that, because PTSD can come in different forms. I'm saying that all of those things in concert with one another has created this persona that a lot of men my monster when I was younger, my monster was impatience. You could say the wrong thing to me and it was on. I mean, it was we going. Now I've gotten to a point in my life where patience is almost like, if I lose my patience, I'm so disappointed in myself, because I worked so hard to get to a place where now it's a chess game, and it's no longer us just lobbing bombs at one another. Now I want to sit here and have a conversation without all of the digs, without the sarcasm, without all the, with a whole lot of, accountability. I want all of that. You asked earlier, what do men want? Men want accountability. I want accountability. I want healed, So in the process, and I think, coming back to what you said, I don't think that perfection should be the enemy of good, of progress. I'm perfect in my progress, so I'm okay. I'm fine, and I'm ready to be in a long-term relationship with a woman, even though I'm still working on myself. And I don't think that I have to sit in a box and not do anything with anybody until I'm 100%. And who gets to decide that? Who gets to tell me, okay, now you ready? You ready now?
Well, that question was meant for y'all. Are you ready? And that's only a question that you can answer.
I wanted
That's
Jamie.
only
Go
a
ahead. I
question.
think Jamie. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah. So let me clarify something, and then I'll get to your point. When I say a monster, I mean I like the young man was saying earlier. We've been through things as black men that have made us or broke us, and it's up to the lady to be to have the intuitive nature to be able to decipher whether he's broken or he's made. My thing is this: I grew up with 4 boys in a household. We fight. We very physical boys, very masculine household. So at the end of the day, I never worried about fighting because I could fight my brother. And at the end of the day, the monster part of me over the years became layered with patience, understanding, all types of things that I learned that would nurture and keep me from being that monster. In terms of a relationship, you ask, what do you want? What are you looking for? I'm not looking for anything. I'm looking for whatever's looking for me. And if I could meet Sunshine, Natalie, you on any given moment. I should be able, as a man, to entertain each one of you separately and give you a good time. It doesn't matter if it's sex or just going to dinner or playing dominoes or going for a walk. I should have the ingenuity and the presence as a man to be able to entertain any woman that comes before me. Now, they may not all be my type, and I want to hone in on that and reflect what I am in terms of a feminine force. But at the end of the day, I should be able to hold a conversation, be very complimentary, and very protective of any woman that I'm with at this stage of my life.
Okay. So, but I'm gonna throw this thought at you with that. I get what you're saying. One of the things that kind of sounds to me when you say, "I'm not looking for anything. I'm looking for what comes to me." That kind of gives me that a passive kind of vibe in that area because it doesn't sound like you're choosing. It's whatever you're just accepting. And so, in addition to what are you attracting, I think the even better question is what are you accepting? If you aren't making that decision for yourself and you're just letting what comes to you, how do you feel more empowered? How do you get empowered about what you end up with? And if you, like you said, if you don't want a relationship, then that's a whole different conversation. And that's kind of what I was getting into. Are you looking for relationships? Are you looking for fun? Because that's a totally different mindset and perspective.
I'll give an example. I'll keep it brief.
Mm-hmm.
If I if you came to Houston, you say, "Hey, Jamie, I'm coming to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Where should I go?" I don't know you, but I know you're closer to my type than you're not my type. Listen, let me share something with you. Every woman doesn't check for me. There are women that don't even look at me, and I don't look at them. That's the vibrational pull that I'm talking about. So in short, when we're doing like the old transistor radio, when you kind of fine tune the radio and you get a little static and you don't stop till you get that clear signal, that's what works for me. And that comes without saying. It comes with a feminine. I like feminine women. I like women who never run out of femininity. What does that mean? That means that you don't need to talk like me. You don't have the same verbiage that I have. That to me means that you are relaxed and comfortable in your femininity. I don't like guys that say dog and I like women. I like women who like guys. I don't like women who like women. So it kind of narrows it down a little bit.
Now, what you just said there, you gave me what you wanted. What you just described is what you want. That was a clear statement. It wasn't, well, I could take or accept this. That's what I mean by what do you want? And that was so clear and confident. And I don't know about you ladies on the panel, but
No, I
that
mean it
was
was,
strong and
yeah.
confident.
I think it's very clear about with the dial I can see where Jamie is coming from and being like, and especially at this age, you are kind of fine tuning to see like what works for you. I think even women are doing that at this point in our lives.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna challenge that. I'm gonna challenge that to take that same analogy, and I think I'm gonna come. I guess from my perspective, when I turn on the radio, I know what station I'm going to. I know what type of music I like. I'm hitting 107.5. back in the day, 98, 98.7 Kiss. So I don't need to, especially now that I know my taste. Hot 97 ain't vibing for me. So I get what you're saying, but I'm also saying here's just another perspective and flip of it's all right to know what station you want, and especially at this time in your life.
Can I push back on that?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a nerd, so here it goes. Just ride with me. When you're at home and you're in your comfort and you're in your space and you know where you are, yeah, you've already programmed that. But I'm on the road. I'm searching now. I'm in another space. I'm in somewhere where I don't have those stations programmed. So now I'm searching for that thing, right? So it's not necessarily. I appreciate the analogy, but but what I think what Jamie is saying is closer to somebody who's out in the world just putting up an antenna and looking for something that's connecting, and not necessarily like I know where the radio station is. Because if that's the case, then I'm just gonna keep picking exactly what I've always been picking, right?
Mm-hmm. But you won't if you took a step back and did that inner work of you already know what you picked and what didn't work. So why keep picking that same thing if you realize at a certain point in your life you no longer like 107.5? Don't choose that. But you got to do that inner work though to be able to identify what you don't want.
So now we'll say that we're both agreeing on the same thing. I don't like 107.5, so now I gotta go start looking for something else, which means that I gotta start turning the dial and looking for something else.
Yeah. However, if you know you don't like rock music either, do you need to stay on that station and try to make that work?
But today I might like rock music though.
Okay, so now we adding layers to this.
Hey, I told you.
We adding layers to this.
We're gonna exploit this to its logical.
Let's be adding layers to it. So that's a good question. Do y'all feel like at this time in your life you still trying to figure out what's the best connection for you and the woman?
That's not what we're saying. It's because if we stick with the analogy, my radio is fully built. I mean, everything works. Mm-hmm. All I'm doing is I'm receiving signals as they come and I'm judging them as they arrive. I don't like that song. Oh, they playing nothing but country music. No, I'm cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it doesn't mean that something's wrong with me because I'm listening to this frequency or I heard this frequency. I'm not checking for it. I heard it. That's all I did. I saw it. I heard it. They approached me. Now, this isn't what I'm looking for. And I respectfully Heisman that to the left and I go look for something else. Right? I mean, fellas, I think I'm saying.
I like what you just said. Do y'all all feel that same way? It's not that you necessarily entertaining the whole thing. You just listening and saying no, or are you listening to that whole song and staying on that station and giving that a lot of time and energy?
I'm confused.
I'm talking to the man.
Confused, Reggie. Reggie's confused.
Reggie, to the radio.
The radio analogies got you confused, Reggie.
Simply
ask. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm sorry. You know what?
The women you are attracting, the women that you are attracting, even if they're not necessarily type, are you entertaining that? Are you accepting that, and are you going with it?
Not at my age. If it's something that I'm not really wanting to deal with, I'm very, very secure in saying no, that's not what I want to deal with, and I'll tell them. I mean, I've made it very clear on the show before that I've met women on dating sites, and when we've met before, I've let them know you're not the person I thought you were. So let's not play these games. You lied to me, and you're not the person. So hey, I'm out of here.
How did they lie to you, Reggie?
Huh?
How did they lie to you?
Well, people. Everybody has a representative. We know that. People play games and. They lie about pictures and their physical characteristics. And so, we have to be secure in ourselves to call those things out and stop lying to people. And people should be, people should know they should be lying to
Nene showed up.
Huh?
You thought Beyonce was coming, but Shanae showed up.
No, not that bad. But
now who's being shady? Now who's being
but
shady?
when you start peeling back the layers, people just sell themselves, and when you start peeling back, they're not even half of what they want you to be.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing. It's just like my brother said. He said, just keep it real. Just be real and just be honest. We, like I said all the time, at our age, we don't have time to be playing these games anymore. So let's just get to the real part of it and let's, move on with that. But I don't understand what we're talking about right now when it comes to the race. I'm like, what?
I think I understand where we are, and you know what? It's my fault.
Brother, everybody has their learning style. Everybody has their learning style.
I'm a visual. I have.
I was with you, Rashad. I was with you. You went deep. I was with you.
And I love taking, analogies and visual things and kind of make them into. So that's me. I'm sorry. I drove us down.
That's okay. No apologies here. I have to deal with learning styles all the time because I work in special ed. But I was really trying to put it together to find out what a radio station.
I appreciate you letting me ride with my modality, sir. Thank you.
I'm not gonna die. Hey, I'm not dying with a learning disability at all, Rashad. Trust me.
So Shante, you did ask a great question of me the other day. What are you repelling?
Repelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Throwing that out there to the gentleman. What are you repelling?
I get all the time that I look too serious, that I'm too serious, that I look like I just don't play games. Like, you got to be very staunch when I'm just very silly. I mean, I can be as introverted as I need to be. I can be as extroverted, as I want to be. But, like I said, I've just always had to be serious. Rashad, you said something that's very, very, very true. That there's this monster that we have that's inside of us because we never, as Black men, we never get the opportunity to just be, if that makes sense, because society, we always have to fight off these stereotypes, and we never just get a chance to just be us because there's this expectation. And so you're fighting back, if trying to fit into that mode, not fit into a stereotype. And it's frustrating. It's like, damn, when can I just be me? You are, we are.
Can I ask what are the expectations that you are having what are the expectations that you think women are having? Because we're talking about relationships. What are those expectations that you are witnessing, Reggie?
Well, because I think a lot of times, bear with me because this is going somewhere. I think what women try to be is not what society really is going to allow them to be. What they want in life, like the typical marriage, what we get sold as the typical marriage, really doesn't work for us in Black society because there's so many other things that go on that prevent us from having those type of lifestyles. So with that being said, when we come into a relationship with each other, I always say that it's very different than what we see on television. Black love is very different. There's a connection. There's a reason why when some Black men marry outside of their race or Black women marry outside their race, they always come back and say, well, they didn't really understand. It took me to get with a Black man for him to really understand me. So I guess where I'm going with that is, if our sisters sometime, not all the time, get out of this mindset of what the mainstream society says what Black love is, and we start defining it for ourselves, I think you'll start seeing a lot more interconnectedness because it's the realness of what we're saying love is and not what society is telling us what it needs to be in Black society.
So I have a question. This question is like,
what's your question?
Is Black love with the Black women really that hard?
I didn't say that it was that hard. I said it.
No. I'm saying in general. I'm just because like I said, I have seen more single Black women, and not necessarily men, but women. It's just really interesting, and I see some great women out here, and I know the numbers and all that other stuff, but this is just a question that always is just like, what is it? Because it's something, I think.
You talking to me?
Whomever, it don't matter.
Are you throwing that to everybody else?
This to whoever wants to answer. Like, what is it? What are the struggles? Especially because this show is primarily focused on the love between us.
And I said before, if we stop trying to live by someone else's definition and get back to the love that my grandparents had for each other, the love that our ancestors had for each other, because the struggle was different, instead of and get away from what we try to live up to in this world that we live in now, I think Black women more specifically would really understand that, Black men really want to be married. I mean, the numbers tell you we're married in large numbers. Society doesn't tell us that. But when we get back to defining what our expectation is, and we can get some of our sisters to get on board with that, we'll see more relationships begin to happen, and stop trying to live outside of these societal these weird societal standards, what they say we have to have for it to be truly love.
Yeah, I liked your perspective, as I'm married to a Black man, and I will say that Black love can be a struggle, and it can be a struggle because, like you said, of the background and the culture and the history that we have come from. It can be a struggle when you marry a person, and if their background and their childhood didn't get them to that level that they need to be, and you have to be the person to help get there. You have to be the person that to help them to say you can be who you are, Black man, with me. You don't have to have that monster up with me. You don't have to have that guard up with me. You can be 100% yourself. It's safe here. And I think the biggest problem and the struggle in the Black community when it comes to this is that we are all coming from struggle love. We hashtag struggle love. That ain't love. And it don't have to be our dynamic right now. I'm looking for a love where we can thrive and we can grow and we can build together. That struggle as a partnership, when you don't have to have that, is a dynamic that we need to take out of our mindset. And that's why I say when I'm coaching, I want you to be able to say, this is who I am and this is my strengths. These are my values. This is my best. This is what I've worked on. So that when you get to that woman, you're on the same page and you don't have to have the struggle of. Y'all could come together thriving. Y'all on the same page. It's not, oh, well, we struggled hard together. Now we made it. Why? No other culture or race tells that dynamic or that narrative but us. That we have to sign up for the struggle love and we have to get each other at our worst. When you go to marry someone outside in another race, you are expected to come with certain things.
Yeah.
Why do we take ourselves out of that dynamic too?
Rashad,
So yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead, Shante. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I know, because also Rashad has his hand up. We got about 10 more minutes left, and I just want to make sure everybody gets their thoughts in.
Yeah, I guess what I wanted to respond to about that was that I think that, yeah, you're right. No other race they've had to come with this type because they've never had our experience. And I'm not making excuses for whatever our struggle, quote unquote. But there's beauty in all of that because we created something that's unique to only us on the planet. Like, we've been able to, like, Aretha Franklin had this song that, we grew roses out of concrete, right? So we've been able to do that. And what I've seen is that I'm older than everybody. I'm about to be 60 up in here, so let's keep it a bean.
Black don't crack.
I think that a lot of what we go through is based on what, like Dr. Reggie said, is the relationship that we had with past, our grandparents, right? And a lot of us associate, and especially a lot of, I mean, and I apologize for sounding like I'm generalizing, but a lot of Black women see protection in men as violence. Like, a lot of Black women are attracted to men when they walk into a room. Like, if a dude, if they see, oh, he carry that. Oh God, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, cause okay, so I was married, and my wife told me, my then wife told me, one of the reasons that she was attracted to me was because there was something that happened, and the way I handled it, she was like, oh my God. And she was, and it was all great and it was all fine until that same energy was aimed at her. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden it's like, oh bro, you need therapy. You got anger management issues. You got this, you got that. But it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. We're going through, it's unique to Black men. We go through this thing where when we hear challenge, I'm not saying that women can't challenge us. Women, and that's what I was shaking my head about earlier. It's like,
when we talked about with y'all peace,
right?
yes.
It's not about you sit down, shut up, and be quiet. It's not about that. It's the digs and everything else that go along with it. It's everything else that has to come along with your opinion. That now all of a sudden it's like, look, all I want is to be able to handle this problem and move on, because men are natural problem solvers. We just want to move it. We just want to move the ball forward.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to fight. I don't want to do this. I just don't want to be upset.
Yeah.
But then it becomes a conversation about how you felt about it, which is a conversation you should be having with your girlfriend.
Right? Why do you say that?
Because at the moment that we're having that issue, I think it's incumbent upon Black women to see that this is where Black men come from. We trying to solve a problem. I'm literally trying to fix something right now. So even if I got beef with Jamie right now, what's the first thing we're gonna do? We gonna go outside and talk about it, or we gonna handle it how we gotta handle it, right? But then once it's over, we're grown men. We'll be like, you know what? Hey, bro, you know what? You're right. I was out of pocket. My bad. And we can handle that, and we gonna move forward. The difference is we can't do that with our sisters.
Exactly. And let me tell you why there's beauty in that. That's where the compliment comes in. That's where the partnership comes in. There's nothing wrong with the fact that men are problem solvers and they're logical. But there's a reason why, and I'm going to put it out there, God made us two separate types of individuals and said we are each other's complement, because he knew we each needed that other side of the other person.
I agree. And I think
embrace that. And the woman needs to know how to embrace that aspect of men. And likewise, vice versa. Sometimes you might just need to sit down and talk it out so that you're not angry. That can help you to control that monster. And one of the key things you just said in the story you told is, woof, you said something powerful. You said she looked at that and said, ooh, do you know where that was coming from? Why she was excited when she saw you acting like that?
Listen, I wrote an entire dissertation.
Okay. So then that was protection. What she was saying,
right?
she loved was that she could feel protected by you. So now you switch that and you turn that towards her.
But what happened was
what does that do?
What was deeper that I saw in that is that she saw protection in my violence, which was the point that I was making. It's like, because I think
dysfunctional.
It's extremely, but I think that there's a difference between if me protecting you is when you walk out the door and I don't know, I'm telling you, I'm giving you, listen, I'm here from you. I'm here for you. If you have a problem, please call me. But there's a difference between protection when you're out in the street and some dude grab your butt and I take off on him, that's not protection. That's retaliation. Now, and what happens is a lot of women see that as protection. Where I can't protect you after the fact. Whatever happened to you already happened.
Right.
Well, I can't protect you now. You've already been attacked. So now what happens? Woman goes, "Oh, you not gonna do nothing?" Now my manhood is challenged, right? Now my manhood is challenged. Now I gotta do something.
Right.
Right.
See, that's the key there. Like I think the thing that I think we all can agree on that needs to happen is that we need to, I think Dr. Reggie, you said it, change our mindset behind what we think a relationship is, change our mindset about the expectations and stop letting it be molded by what's out in this culture, in this world. And
that's my whole point. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I apologize. Go ahead, Mr. Shante. I apologize.
Yeah, it's just the point of when we look at today's youth, what are they hearing in today's world, in today's culture, in today's pop culture? Kill them, shoot them, bang them, get that money, screw these dudes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a bad bee. If you a bad bee, how can you dare expect her to be a good woman? That just don't work. They don't line up. That mindset doesn't line up. So being able to change our perspective.
Those guys are being a bad bitch, though.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I don't think guys are out there saying I'm a bad bitch.
No, they saying they want one. A lot of them are saying that's what they're looking for, and a lot of females are calling themselves that. So if you're looking for a bad bee, how are you going to expect her to be a good woman?
I got it.
Those priorities aren't aligned. That's not what she's focusing on. So once we start to change our mindset about what is attractive,
and I think that's what I was going at with that is I saw a traditional relationship when I grew up with my grandparents. I lived with my grandparents for a large part of my life, and I saw the traditional relationship of what it looked like: a man as a provider and a woman, who allowed her man to lead. Most importantly, operative word, I said allowed her man to lead her because he was naturally a leader. And what I've realized a lot of times today, even in dating, is a lot of women haven't seen the appropriateness of what Black relationships look like. So as I'm getting to know a woman, I begin to understand that she's never really seen what a Black relationship looks like, what a man is supposed to do, protector, provider, have his stuff together. She's never seen that. So when she does come across maybe a guy like Rashad or a brother like Jamie, she's looking at us like, who these niggas? Where they come from? Like we're odd as somebody. When in all actuality, there's a lot of us out there.
You spot on, but I think it's the other way around too. It's both ways. Women have not seen that, and men have not seen what it means
I think it comes back to right, and I think it comes back to that whole. And I'm sure. I mean, look, I'm sure you guys have experienced many of women who have had that, right? Or it didn't work, right? I think the thing is like we come into these relationships, we have our expectations because we have a narrative in our head of how it's supposed to look, men and women.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, it's just like now it's like, are you? Because I think the thing is like we push for our type, and then we start to understand this is actually my ideal person is actually this, but I've been told that I'm supposed to have this.
Yeah.
That's where I was going with it, Natalie. It's like society tells us that you really got to dumb yourself down because this is the only thing out here, almost like you have to settle. And we, as Black men, we don't get to where we get to by just settling. That, you can't do that because we have too many examples of what happens when you do settle in your personal life, in your career life. There's a consequence for that. For men, more specifically, there's a consequence for that.
What has happened when you get? So can we talk about that a little bit? What has happened when y'all have settled? Because I think this is a learning point for those folks who are even watching.
Okay. So bastard babies get born. Domestic violence happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that because I work with that now. I deal with that now when I see the repercussions of two men. I'm sorry, a man and a woman who get together and they have a child out of wedlock and they no longer want to be parents anymore. They love that child up until age 3 when it's cute and it's cuddly. But then when it comes to having to be a parent to that child and raise that child, then you have learning disabilities. That child can't read. That child is emotionally unstable. All of these things that I have to now deal with in the classroom when I go in and I have to diagnose a child with emotional behavior disorders or a specific learning disability, or looking at a beautiful young girl in the 9th grade who can't read pre-primer. What happened? Well, she didn't have a father in her life. Or look at the way she's dressing. Well, she never had a dad to say, "Hey, you're not walking out of the house with that on,"
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm sitting here watching 2 days ago, listening to a young man just curse in front of a girl, and I said, "Dude, there's a girl sitting there." He didn't know that he wasn't supposed to do that. So all these factors contribute to later on life relationship failures that happen in our community when it's not nipped in the bud at an early age.
Right. But it's still, look, even there's a lot of men who are our age who still ain't been
Stop
nipped in the
doing that.
bud.
Would you please stop always doing the being a
No,
contrarian?
I'm just because we're
You always have
talking
to do that.
because
But there's always some
Reggie,
men that always
Reggie,
doing this.
Reggie,
No, we're not
Reggie,
talking about that.
Reggie. No. Because our conversations are about love now.
But you
Let me
contrarian
let me
all the
finish.
time. You
I'm
do that.
asking the question for that because the thing is, it's just like I said, there are more single people our age in our generation than ever. So my thing is, it's just like I want to know personally, and you, like I said, just what you have learned in your. I mean, I'm clearly we see what's going on with our younger generation, but we kind of set certain standards. So that's why I'm trying to understand what have you learned.
But I'm giving you the real insight because I'm in the belly of the beast right now. I've been in the belly of the beast for 26 years, and I've always worked with at-risk children. This has been coming. This has been designed to happen. This is something that's happened this started in the 1970s. We all know this when they began making a specific target on the Black family. Now this is the repercussion of that. A bunch of bastard baby children running around who don't even want to be, in a relationship now because all they've grown up with is single parenthood. They think that's totally natural. Women choosing to be mothers before they even choose to want to be a wife now. Men choosing to be fathers before they even choose to be husbands, want to choose to be a husband. So that's totally backwards to how social norms work, how societies are created, how genealogies are carried on. We have just a total dysfunction and total dysfunctional breakdown of the family, more specifically the Black family. No other culture is going through that, but we have to also understand that no other culture has been specifically targeted like the Black family has been.
And that is why I say you got to start with the healing. You got to be willing to put in that work on self first and change that generational curse that's been happening and be willing to think differently and think outside the box. May not be popular, may feel lonely at times. Sometimes, lady, you're going to have to be lonely and not choose the same thing and make that same mistake over and over again because you fear being alone. So you just
But,
accept anything.
but posit this, Miss Lindsay. Imagine that what you all don't know, there's not any Black people in the teaching profession. That's the last time that most Black children will have someone in their lives outside of their families who care about them. And it's in a classroom environment, not like the way that I grew up. I'm going to speak for myself. And you have to be the only advocate who's saying that this child needs therapy. You're looking at a child, middle school, sometimes elementary school, and you're saying this child needs therapy because you care, but you have a society that's creating an educational system that says that you can't do that, you know.
So
So
back to my question.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Lord, yes. Your ideal versus your type now. Are you still in the like? I do think that there's certain things, as we all do, right? We end up in these spaces and places with people.
Okay, so you want my type? Light-skinned sisters with cute glasses who teach yoga. How about that?
You know what? I'm gonna
Wait, say that again. Light skinned
I
sisters with who?
cannot. Reggie's so damn shady. Reggie, I'm gonna get you. It's all
And
good.
I also like nice. I like beautiful, sexy, attractive Caribbean women with a beautiful accent that I'm surrounded by all the time down here. They remind me of you all the time, Sunshine.
Don't even try it, because I send you one picture, you're gonna be like, you lied.
Right.
No, I've seen your goods before, so I know you. I know what you working with.
So what are y'all expecting now at this age then? Let's what are your expectations now? You meet someone, you dig her. How do you move forward?
You know what? You know what I do, and this is
What do
gonna
you
sound
do?
corny.
What do you do?
I listen.
Chop wood.
You what?
Chop wood.
No. I listen. It's almost like, when you're reading a book, you listen for context clues to get the idea of what the story is about. Like, I listen to hear words from this person. So as I'm hearing words like healing, accountability, therapy, I'm hearing stuff like that, then that's somebody that I probably would be interested in spending some time with, because it sounds to me as if they invested some time and effort into improving themselves, not necessarily talking to me about what necessarily that they want. Like, I want this, I want that, I want a man who can do this, I want a man who can do that, I need a man who can do this. I am the type of person who's worked on myself, and I've become this because I've worked on me, because that's the conversation I'm having. I've gone from this person to this person, and so now if you can't reflect that in yourself, then I'm not interested. I'm completely not interested.
All right. Jamie, what are you expecting now at this age? Do you have any?
Transparency.
Just transparency.
It just, just give whatever I give out, that's what I expect.
I'm glad that you said that, Jamie. I think transparency is a really important thing right now. And a lot of people are not that transparent as they should be, which is a good thing.
Dr. Reggie, what are you expecting at this age now?
I agree with Jamie. Transparency is very important. I mean, there's no need to just be playing these games anymore. Life is short. It's starting to not give us things anymore and take things away. So we all have to be real about what is going on. And if you meet somebody, be authentic as you can be, and be as transparent as Jamie said.
Yeah.
I love what all of you said. I think the key to that, especially when you're looking at these women, that's hard for a lot of people because they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
They haven't taken the time to know what being authentic means. If you putting on this front and this image and you trying to be, like you mentioned, what culture tells you to be, how are you going to show up authentic? You got to start with you. To attract whatever it is you're looking for. You're going to know what to say no to. Like Rashad said, once you know who you are authentically, you know what to say.
Especially at this age, I think we live in a place of heirs, right? A lot of people put on airs.
We talked about this when you started this back during COVID. Everybody got a chance to reset, to do control, alternate, delete, and reboot. But a lot of people came out a lot more messed up because they didn't know how to deal unflinchingly with themselves in the mirror and say, damn, I ain't shit.
Well, I hope they don't say they ain't shit. I just hope they I got a whole lot of shit to work on.
I know. Two-way shit's out there, yo.
I know that. I mean, but sometimes when you say you ain't shit, you still live in shit and act like shit.
But what a brother Rashad, But see, here's the thing. Brother Rashad said something very, very clear. And I said this a couple of shows ago, and I said that's one thing about men. We have to understand that men, more specifically black men, we will call each other out about things. Women will allow another woman to walk in the room with a fake purse, with some weed
You in the
contacts.
fake purse.
Yeah.
Brother, what is that? What's the fake purse?
They don't match up.
I can't.
They don't match up.
Lord,
But
have
hold up.
mercy.
But hold up. So what I'm saying is, let a brother walk up in a room with Rashad and Jamie and I with some fake Jordans on, with Jordan dunking backwards, like
I was
with his
just
left
about to
thing and
say some
his
fake
right hand.
days, bro.
With some fake J's. We're gonna be like, yo, man, you got some fake J's on here, We're gonna call you straight out. That's what the what's authentic about men is that we don't allow each other, we hold each other accountable. And if we can't do it with the verbal, we'll definitely do it with the physical. It just goes there.
I hear you on when it comes to that, but do y'all really think y'all hold each other accountable? Because I have been around men. Okay, thank you. Because let's qualify that, because if that was the case, we wouldn't see so much craziness with these young men out here, older men too, and the mindsets and like
real men
abuse, domestic violence.
Wait. I think we generalize it.
Well, I thought that was what we was doing most of this show.
I'm being specific. Real men will not allow other men to come around them and perpetrate.
Brothers who care, okay, let me go ahead and just go and just use a word. Brothers who love brothers, like we care about us, which starts off as we love ourselves, and therefore we love the brothers that's next to us. Mm-hmm. Like my brothers and my team, like, nah, they don't get no passes. They get no passes. So I have a friend, no names, had an issue with his wife. And the issue just blew up and became like this whole thing. When all of us brothers got together, he was standing in a circle. He was like, "Hey, bro, facts, bro. You was wrong, bro. You was wrong." And I've been in situations when I was married, and I brought a situation to a friend, and she told me straight up, she's like, "No, you know what? You was wrong. You was wrong. You need to go make that right because you was out of pocket. And let me tell you why." Right? Mm-hmm. And if we follow the teachings, it says that wise counsel, what I'm saying, is a value to us. So we have to sit, I have to sit and listen. And brothers, we do the same thing. If Dr. Reggie and Jamie are brothers that I respect, because they've shown themselves that they about that life and they really care about me, mm-hmm. then they ain't gonna tell me no BS. They're not gonna give me something that's gonna make me, So when we talking to the young kids, there's a disconnect there because we got a whole cultural chasm between us. Like, they don't see that we live a real life. They live a life on social media, and it's about, it's about looks, it's about how things look. You could be broke as hell, and you can literally live in a dope ass apartment, and that one room could look fly as hell, but the rest of it's empty. Right? So it's all about the look. Whereas when we came up, if I carry it like this, then I'm gonna have to carry all of that. If I'm saying I'm doing it, then my house gotta be right, my car gotta be right, my suits gotta be right, my job gotta be right, my businesses gotta be, all that has to be there, because somebody's gonna come check me, right?
Mm-hmm. So, but
go ahead.
I like what Richard just said, and from the woman's perspective, I know I'm not generalizing for all women, but I think we kind of hold back from being very open and honest and saying, "Hey, you were wrong," because we're scared to kind of hurt people's feelings.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that that's never been my issue. I think for me, is feeling
Right.
too comfortable to say "girl, no" or "dude, no."
Right.
But it's just like what Rashad said and what Dr. Reggie said. If you loving a person, if you genuinely care about that person, if you want that person to be their best, you're not gonna hold back.
Right.
You're not gonna say, "Sis, how many times you gonna make that decision? How is that
Right.
helping you?"
That is true. That is true. And I know I've been very passive about something like that. Like if that's what you like, that's what you like. Because I'm that person that don't like to ruffle
Conflict.
feathers,
Mhm.
and I just end up taking the passive side of, okay, if that's what you want, that's what you want. We'll support you. When we really know sometimes, like, hey, that's a really terrible decision that you're making.
Mhm.
And for men, I like the fact that they can come up and just say, listen, that's some bullshit you're doing.
Let me
And
tell you,
on
that
the
should be your
women's
goal.
side, we're a little bit more cautious of feeling.
Yeah.
But I'm very open for that constructive feedback. So let me know.
I mean, in
Because we're
all
not really, yeah, men, we're not really locked into our emotions. I mean, that I'm not saying we don't have them, and more evolved men are definitely involved in their emotions, but we can still tap into that thing where we can just go sit down and we can just talk to this dude. It's like, hey, bruh, you know,
Mhm.
like I had a friend, like it's about 15, 20 years ago, um, posed to a woman. And then I go to Cheesecake Factory and I see him with another woman.
Mm.
And I'm like, and
Cheesecake
all,
factory though.
how, what'd you say?
I'm like, cheesecake factory though.
This is 15 years ago now. Come on.
I'm
that
Yeah.
was
kidding. I'm
that was a
kidding.
spot back in the day. I'm with you,
It was
Rashad.
the spot. You know it
It was
was.
the
That
spot
Jace,
back in
they
Right.
the day.
still rather expensive.
Right.
That's
So
some good
so
food though.
all I had to do was send dude a text message. I took a picture because he didn't know that I was, Sunday Cheesecake Factory is crowded. I take a picture of him and I just send him a picture. And I say, "Yo, bro, your skirts, your slip is hanging." That's exactly what I said to him. And my man started looking around like, and then him and the girl got up out of there quick. But that never stopped. It didn't stop there. Like
Right.
once he was aware that one of his bros knew what was going on, now we got to talk, bruh. Because now I'm looking out for the sister too. So either you gonna have to tell her, or we gonna tell her, bruh. Because you out of pocket.
Mm.
You out of
Yeah.
pocket. We can't let her.
But do
We can't.
men,
We can't.
Rashad? I
We can't.
think
No,
that's
no,
a
no.
I think
rarity.
this is unique for
That,
your
that's for
we
you,
talking
Rashad.
here.
That ain't
Huh?
happening
These
for a
group of
lot of
men,
bros.
but I'm yeah, the
I think
Well,
a
well,
experience
lot
well,
of
I
bros
had.
well.
will let that
The men
shit
I know would
slide.
see that and be like, send a text like, yeah, my man,
Boy, right,
do it,
exactly, Shante.
And see,
do
and you know
it.
what? And that's what bothers me is that
But I think in
that's
all
such a that's such a poor view of who we are and who we can be
right.
that it's like immediately we race to the bottom when it comes down to because because you different. Because if it was like any other average guy that I know, which I ain't special, I'm just an average guy myself. I just happen to love
But
my
but but,
people,
but it,
and I think there are people, there are brothers out here, Dr. Reggie included, that love their people. My man wouldn't be here like in early education and intervention and the services that he gives to our youth if he didn't love us like that,
right.
right?
In,
So
in, yeah.
So
In all fairness, Natalie, they did have qualifiers and say real men. Reggie did. Dr. Reggie did say real men. Let's differentiate real men
no,
from.
I agree, but I even think, look, I even think some people, I think there's multiple factors that go along with that, right? I'm not saying I'm not. Even if as a real man, real woman, all of us, I think, are solid people. If you have a relationship with his girl and you like that shit ain't cool, yeah, I'm gonna say something. Like you need to like clean that shit up.
I didn't
But
know his girl. I didn't know
okay,
his
you didn't know his
female girl.
girl. But what
I
I'm
knew
trying to
him.
say is you
Yeah.
knew him, right? And you knew, and you probably knew maybe she was whatever the qualifier
Well,
was.
I don't know if you were on, but he did say that he just saw him propose to his girl, and then the next
Yeah,
day.
we were at one
Oh, okay,
spot. We were at
okay.
one spot on a
Yes.
Friday. He proposed to
And
her.
then he was with the
And
next girl the other
let's
day.
skip forward 2 Sundays, and now
Okay,
I see him
got it.
pulling up with
Okay,
somebody else. I'm like, bruh, you skirt, you slip hanging, bruh. I see you out here,
got it. Okay,
right?
okay.
So
That
it's
makes a
like
difference. Yes.
you
So,
look
question:
you look
Do y'all
crazy
feel?
right now, and brothers. Okay, last point. I, when I was about, I don't know, I think I was about 24, and I was dating this girl, and I just walked up to one of my partners, and I was just like, "Yeah, man, because we was DJing, we in the clubs, we promoting, we doing our thing." I was like, "Man, there's too many sisters out here, bro. We got to do our thing." Hey, bro, my man looked at me. He was like, "Man, I got something good at home, bro. I don't cheat." And I literally did the dog out, huh? You don't what? He's like, "Nah, bro, I don't cheat. I don't do that." And I swear on everything I love, my boy, his name is George. I was like, yo, man, you literally changed my life. Like, because I thought that that's how we were supposed to get down. Like, I thought that was how we were supposed to be. Like, oh no, we out here, we doing our thing. Now he's like, bro, when you got something good at home, bro, you stick with that. And when I got married, that's exactly what I did, yo. And I can be confident, and I can stand on that even though my marriage didn't work. I can walk away from that situation knowing that I left everything right there. I didn't have to, wasn't no outside influences, wasn't nothing from somebody else that, influenced me to do what I did, nothing. So I think that whether or not we wanna say it in a general sense or not, there are brothers out there. It could be just that one dude just out there in a sea of other ratchet dudes that's out there. But there are people out there that's influencing us and changing our life.
So I want because we're gonna have to wrap this up because we've gone way over. Good stuff, very good stuff from all of you guys. I don't believe that most black men are ratchet. I don't lead with that. Even the ones who are challenging, I think it's like, how do we start to? And even black women, I think we're struggling with our own demons, as
They
Rashad
just
said.
don't know. They don't
Well, I
know.
think yeah, right. And I think it's
It's
like,
like
how do
Rashad said.
right?
He
How
didn't
do we
know.
get he didn't know, and how do we, how do you start to open up your circle, open up your experiences, so on and so forth, so you can start to witness and think differently, live differently, so on and so forth.
Choose
Um,
differently.
choose differently too.
Yeah.
hmm Uh, so yeah. Final thoughts, because I know we are over. I let it go since we are here, but
We're using all of Shantae's expertise. We're using it up.
I enjoyed this so much. I really did.
Yeah.
Shantae,
Loved
I'm gonna
it.
let you have the final question, Shantae. What's your final question for the brothers, or for all of us, I guess?
What are your next steps moving forward to get what it is you're looking for?
Uh,
Uh,
okay, so I've been doing a lot of work in the last year, just on myself, mentally, spiritually, and physically. I think about Natalie all the time when I go to yoga. Started yoga, back doing yoga.
Good,
It's
bravo.
been doing a lot for me. Meditation, talking to my therapist on a regular basis, just changing life, making severe lifestyle choices. I gave up drinking. I don't drink anymore.
That's
Uh,
awesome, Reggie.
Nice.
yeah,
Congratulations.
I just things that people may not think are big things for them, but it was for me, you know, getting myself back in shape, focusing on some things personally that I want to do professionally. So, you know, getting back to the way that I was pre getting my doctorate, you know, it was like I was really grinding it out, writing, and I was disciplined. And then once I got it, it was almost like, you know, you get that new car smell and it's gone. And now, you know, it's like, okay, now I had to find something else, you know, to keep me motivated and in that direction. So I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. I love
So,
everything you said.
so relationally, I would love to be in a relationship. I just haven't, you know, and trust me, I know people say, well, you in Miami. And I can say, well, that doesn't mean anything, you know, because women are the same everywhere you go. Trust me. Brothers out here doing that passport pimping, and man, you need to go overseas to Puerto Rico.
Passport pimping. What is?
Trust
You know what? We can't even. That's a show.
That's a whole nother topic.
Passport pimping.
Oh,
That's
you ever heard that? Oh, that's a big thing down here. Brothers going down to the Caribbean and getting women.
women.
And they think it's cheaper.
Bring
But
them back.
listen to me. Listen to me. That's the biggest hoax that's out here right now, because those women do the same thing. They just speak a different language. That's all. You know, they
and a whole nother agenda too. With why they coming over. Everybody got an agenda when it comes to that.
So,
Rashad, what's your answer? I'm sorry. Your
I
answer.
got the Bible out. Go ahead.
This is not a Bible. This is just a journal.
I know.
This is because I'm a writer, so I write a lot, and this is something that I write and I read often, and it says, "I attract beauty. I am worthy of having that. I am worthy of having love. I do not chase. I attract. I attract beauty, love, intellect, and accountability. All of those things are headed my way." That's something that I say to myself almost, well, I don't want to say daily because I need to be more diligent in that. But this is something that I say those affirmations to myself because I want to interrupt my cycle, right? My cycle has just been, oh yeah, you meet somebody, you go out, you guys have a couple of laughs, everything's great. You have this, you know, oh yeah, I got this like surface attraction to this person. And then, you know, once the interest starts to fade off, and then all of a sudden that person starts calling a little less and blah, blah, blah. But that's because I'm out here, I was out here looking for, I'm trying to make my puzzles pieces fit. Whereas if you just sit down and you focus on you, as the doctor said, you know, you're focusing on all aspects of yourself. You begin to passively just let those things just happen for you. So.
Well, I like what both of you said. I would just end with this. Keep doing what you all are doing. One of the things that I like about you said I want to kind of expand on is when you are doing the things you love, that's where you're going to meet like-minded people. So if you go into places that you want to share with that partner, keep going to those places. Sunshine, you said one of the things in the beginning is that, you know, these men are duds out here. Was that what y'all said in the beginning?
Natalie said
You said that.
I said some of them are duds. I didn't say all.
Okay, some of the men are duds out here. You said. Sorry. I didn't realize I said all. But some of they're duds out here, and so when you come across that,
there are
it's most likely because they have not developed themselves. Once again, they have not had their own built up their interests. There's some people I ask, I'm like, "What are your passions? What are you interested in?" It'd be like blank stares. So if they can't come and tell you what they love and they're not doing what they love, how they gonna come and love you? How they gonna give you what you need? So gentlemen, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Yes. And I like what both gentlemen said. They both said they're working on themselves, or they have worked on themselves, or they're always working on themselves to make themselves better. And I think that's something that we all should be doing. As we grow older, we have to come out of that, Natalie calls it arrested development. We have to come out of that stage where, the past is the past. Let's focus on us now, and let's resolve whatever unresolved issues were there in the past, and try to, get ahead of it and not bring that into another relationship or anything like that.
Let's leave dysfunction behind and let's step into thriving, ladies
Let's
and
heal.
gentlemen.
And Jen.
Heal.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yes. All right.
All right, y'all. That is time. We don't have an after party tonight. We are in South Africa, but we will see you guys. And we have another live taping that we'll be showing next week. But we'll see you guys the 23rd. And the after
Thank you.
party will be back.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Miss Shante. Thank you, Rashad. And we will see you guys soon. Me and Sunshine. Y'all have a great, great week. See you guys.
Cheers. Enjoy yourself, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.